and ask yourself, who is that bitch? What's your name?
Welcome to Trash Pop Digital Universe, where you can be anybody in the world. You can live your life here on the internet. Be who you are, share a pic, baby, now you're set.
We need a little shoulder and clavicle highlight moment because I want my shoulders and clavicles to shine from the gods above. Beautiful, beautiful. Are we filming? Are we filming? Oh, we are. Huh. Oh. Hi there. It's me, Priscilla Cybin, one half of Trash Pop. We are a drag queen pop band and we like to make little videos here on youtube.com. So that's what I'm doing today. And I'm actually doing a video inspired by one of our recent subscribers. So shout out to you, Miss CC, because this video was inspired by you. And I'm so excited to talk about how to choose a fierce drag name. So Miss CC, or whatever your drag name ends up being, this one is for you. Thanks for the request. So I think in order to talk about drag names, I wanted first to talk about my own drag name, Priscilla Cybin, and the names that I've had before. So Priscilla Cybin is obviously a pun if you haven't gotten it yet. It's a pun on the recreational drug psilocybin coming from magic mushrooms. And so I am just a crazy, kooky, fun queen from outer space, and I wanted a name to reflect that. So we have Priscilla Cybin. I also really like the movie Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and so the name just really ends up working for me. If you go to the very beginning of our YouTube channel, you will see that I was called a different name before. My old drag name was Alexandra McQueef. And this is obviously a play on the legendary designer Alexander McQueen. I wanted to have a very fashion-forward drag that also had a lot of comedy inspired by it. And that's kind of where I came up with the name Alexandra McQueef. But over time, it just felt like the name didn't fit me, and I came up with Priscilla Cybin. And that name has really stuck for me, and it's just been the name that I've had now for so long, and now I just totally see myself as Priscilla, Chinchilla, Godzilla, now available on iTunes. No, I'm serious, you really could go buy that song on iTunes. It would help me and Luna out a lot. And of course, I had a name before this. I just called myself Veda Storms. It was the first thing that came to me, but that did not last very long at all. Luna, on the other hand, has basically been Luna Soul her entire drag career. The name just fit like that, and why change something if it ain't broke, honey? Today, I just kind of wanted to go over how to choose a good drag name, and I've kind of broken this up into categories of different types of drag names that exist out there. Obviously, the first category, probably the most popular one, is puns. Drag queens love puns. So many of our names end up being puns. I mean, look at Priscilla Cybin, look at Alexandra McQueef. They are a lot of puns. And if we look at the drag world outside of just me and Luna and Trash Pop, we'll find a lot of puns there too. So puns like Sharon Needles, Pheromone. We have really kind of like dark humor puns like Diana Fire or Diana AIDS. I don't endorse that one, but I have heard of a drag queen named Diana AIDS. And then of course you have like Ivana, jump out my window. You get the idea. And so I think that pun names are really good for queens if you are somebody who likes comedy and you're looking to have this like quirky, fun persona, then I think a pun name could be good for you. And of course, you just want to make sure that your pun name is original. We don't want to have 30 Sharon Needles. When we think of Sharon Needles, we think of the Sharon Needles. And the same should go with your name if it's a pun. The next type of drag name that I thought of is like the sexy, feminine, classic drag name. And these usually work by just taking two womanly names and sticking them together and calling yourself that. Examples of this kind of drag name are Nicole Paige Brooks, Alexis Michelle, or even something like Rosetta Stone. You can just kind of like take really feminine sounding things and put them together and like I imagine that these kind of drag queens are like not comedy queens. They are like very put together, very glamorous, always that. Their makeup is always perfect. Their outfits are always perfect. You know, they are just like dripping in head to toe with the most gorgeous jewels. And I love this kind of drag queen. I'm definitely not that kind of queen. Like, I love doing makeup. I like being silly, and I know my drag is kind of trashy. That's why we call ourselves trash pop. And so I did not want a name that sounded like super regal, but I can see like, if you want to be like fierce and you want to be that bitch, then I can totally see just like pick the most fierce womanly names that you can think of and then just like embody that. Like, you are that. Another type of drag name is of course house names, and this is legendary. I mean, this is from the ball scene. This is from like queer Black, queer Latino culture, and they would just create these amazing houses and look after one another. You can totally see this in documentaries like Paris is Burning, or more recently the show Pose on FX. These groups of people would group together and help each other with housing and help each other afford balls and afford amazing outfits and dance lessons and everything that they have. And so I feel like if you're looking to build a house, you definitely want to like respect house history. If you're looking to become part of someone else's house, then I think also you need to like know a little bit about ball culture and like where you would belong in that. Obviously, some really like well-known houses are like House of Extravaganza, House of La Beja. More recently, we have things like House of Edwards with Alyssa Edwards and her whole drag family in that. House of Avalon, and all the different houses that are in the show Pose. And so like, if you want a house name, then I think it's important to like go out and find a house that you belong in or create one yourself. I mean, Luna and I just kind of have like the House of Glam Jesus. It's her and I, and we help each other out with our drag. I mean, we're always there for each other. And that's kind of what makes it really amazing. And of course, with house names, you can like have that last name. So like Crystal La Beja, Pepper La Beja, or you can, you know, have two different names and still belong in the same house. But if you're having a hard time coming up with a drag name and you're looking for a community, then I think finding a house and taking on a house name is a beautiful way of finding your drag name. Finally, the last category that I could really think of was building a brand. And these are like drag names that I think are brand names, starting with the legendary drag queen Cher. Cher does not need to have a last name. That one word is enough for you to conjure up the image like that. I'm also thinking of drag queens that have been on RuPaul's Drag Race, like Trixie Mattel, Kim Chi. Some of these are also puns, but they've become brands. Even something simple like Rosé, Pork Chop. These are like simple drag names that become a brand because of the personality and the way they market themselves to the drag world. Also, Karen from Finance, an Australian drag queen. What a way to take something like as common as, oh, that's Karen from Finance, like someone that you work with, and make it into a drag name that is like so iconic and memorable. Now, I asked my sister Luna if she had any advice for drag names, and her top tips were to pick something that's unique that no one else has, and to pick something that really represents you. I know that she picked Luna Soul because she's always had this affinity for the moon and lunar energy, and then choosing Soul as the last name kind of balances out this moon energy with the sun energy, and it's a really perfect name for her. And I also want to echo that. You should pick a drag name that is very you and very unique. It's going to be your brand name after all. If you like comedy, you should pick something funny, maybe even a pun. If you want your alter ego to be a fierce Glamazonian icon, then obviously pick something that sounds fierce. And I think it's really important to try on different names. One of my favorite things to do in the very beginning was to just pick up a mirror, look inside when you're fully in drag, and ask yourself, who is that bitch? What's your name? And then see what the bitch says. You might be surprised that your alter ego inside has already come up with a name for herself, and you don't even need to pick it. It was already there inside of you as part of your artistic soul. And of course, if you are still having a hard time coming up with a name, then lean into the drag community. Find yourself a drag mother and ask her to give you a name. I know when I reach a ripe, mature age, I'm very much looking forward to having drag children. and I can't wait to name all of these little rascals. And then my final piece of advice is just to pick something that's really gonna roll off the top of the tongue and really feel like yourself. So with a name like Cece, for example, I think there are so many ways you can have fun with the name Cece. You could call yourself Cece Savage or Cece Sunset Boulevard. There's just so many ways to have fun with names, and go for the sound feel. Like, what are people gonna hear? What is the name gonna sound like? How do you make it iconic? And finally, don't take it too seriously. People might forget your name, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. So while a name is an important part of a drag act, your personality and what you bring to the table, I think, is so much more important. Anyways, I hope that this was able to inspire some of you newer drag queens who are new to the scene. Hi, we're so lucky to have you all watching our channel. Luna and I have really had over 8 years of drag experience now, and we're so ready to share some of our knowledge with you. We want our community to be very inclusive. We want to talk to you. We want to learn about you. We want to see what you look like. So definitely follow us on social media, be in touch with us. We're so excited about this growing drag trash pop family. Once again, I'm Priscilla Cybin, one half of Trash Pop. You can download our newest single, Super Galactic Party Tour, on all music platforms. Stream it on Spotify, stream it on Apple Music, stream it wherever you like, as long as you stream it. Thank you for watching, and Trash Pop is going to make the world pop. Bye!